Indiana is seeing a record number of new COVID-19 cases. Numbers aren't updated yet over the weekend, but Friday, the state health department reported almost 15,000 new cases of COVID. Remember, this does not take into account all the positive cases from those at-home rapid tests. In some areas, the healthcare system is buckling under new pressure. The virus is so widespread, many healthcare workers are testing positive themselves and calling out sick. Sam Brock has this story.
A year ago, or even a month ago, the daily COVID infection number might have seemed impossible. Roughly 870,000 cases recorded Friday alone.
This has now been the largest influx of patients that we've ever taken care of. They've been the sickest of the patients we've ever taken care of.
A deeper dive into the number of hospitalized patients and deaths reveals trends that certainly don't match the massive case rise daily average. A 265% increase over 2 weeks compared to a 72% increase for hospitalizations, while deaths have shown little change at about 1,500 a day. Are you worried that we could see a dramatic rise in the amount of people dying from COVID in the near future?
It's always possible. And I think it really depends upon who gets infected in the next several days and weeks.
The emerging portrait of Omicron is a variant increasingly making people sick. At the moment, a daily average of nearly 122,000 people are hospitalized with the virus. Not far from the country's all-time high of 137,000 in January of last year, with health experts predicting that record could fall in days. At the same time, hospitals nationwide are reporting a dwindling number of available staff.
Every hospital is struggling with a staffing shortage like they've never experienced. Now, because of staff being out due to COVID, it's just a gasoline can on the fire.
I'm here to tell you, we're tired, we're exhausted, and we're literally on the edge.
Of those in American ICUs right now, just under 32% of adults are being treated for the virus. The other 2/3 are not. That's a notch below where we were during the peak of Delta, when 38% of ICU patients had COVID, but it's also significantly higher than we were just a month ago. There's also a new development in some major cities, like New York and Miami, where roughly half the people admitted for care are being treated for something other than COVID and then testing positive.
We are now admitting patients who have incidental infections who might be earlier in their disease and who are more contagious. We are seeing people showing up and finding out that they also have coronavirus in addition to the reason that they're there.
Yet admitted for COVID-19 or not, doctors say there is a common thread.
Most of the patients who are admitted to the hospital are unvaccinated. For those who are being admitted to the hospital who are vaccinated, their severity of illness is less.
Across New York State, 40 hospitals have tipped the threshold for delaying non-urgent surgeries as the nation grapples with the still rising flood of patients.
Just a reminder, tomorrow is an e-learning day for Warren Township schools, grades 5 through 12. The district says there's currently a staffing shortage in the transportation department because of COVID cases. And because of surging cases, several schools are now requiring masks once again. That includes all students and staff at Roncalli High School, Avon Community Schools, and Westfield Washington Schools. Each school system hopes this is temporary while dealing with the current surge. Thousands of people who have had COVID-19 have at least temporarily lost their senses of taste and smell. But for some, instead of losing those senses, the disease makes everything they smell or eat disgusting. Robinson Miles talked to one COVID long hauler whose life has been turned upside down by this condition.
Pepperonis are bad, cheese, any kind of cheese is bad.
Ty Hunter's relationship with food is a little complicated. He tested positive for COVID-19 on Christmas Day 2020 and lost his senses of taste and smell. In late March, they came back. But a few weeks later, something changed. He went out for Taco Bell and assumed the meat had gone bad in his meal, but then he noticed the same taste the next morning in his morning coffee. A taste that's a little hard to describe.
The best I could do is rotten flesh mixed with chemicals. And as gross as that sounds, that's about as close as I can get to it. It's not a smell that you've smelled before. Garlic and onion powder are the worst.
This is a phenomenon called parosmia. And Ty says that since then, about 90% of all foods have that taste to him. But it's not just foods. It's soaps, perfumes, colognes, shampoos, almost anything with a smell. He and his wife found a Facebook group of people going through the same thing after getting the virus. They can all sympathize with how difficult this has made his life.
I know that I'm not speaking alone with people with prosmia. If I could go back and lose my taste of smell and taste, I would do it in a heartbeat. I love peanut butter, and it's terrible.
His wife has had to step in and help him judge things he can't tell apart. She's like his seeing eye dog, but with smells.
It's interesting because there will be sometimes he's like, do I smell okay, or is there and I'm like, no, you don't smell okay. You should probably hop back in the shower.
He knows from the Facebook group that some people recover in a few weeks, but others have had it longer than he has, so there's no way to know when or if it will go away.
Hopefully one day I'll wake up and, everything will be normal, but we just don't know.